Hello and welcome to the Impact Dynamics podcast.
I'm Andy Little.
My name is Rusty.
We talk about precision rifle shooting, and I learnt how to remove Cerakote.
And I went to the PRS in Buchan. Let's go! Match director, mate. Match director. Hello, Andy.
Hooray!
Hooray! Hope that's enough.
We need your vote.
Now we've caught up to where we are on the podcast.
All right, go on back.
Roll the outro. Hello, Andy.
Hello, Rusty.
Welcome to the new opener of the podcast, apparently. Let's not do that again.
Oh, okay.
Also, Josh is here, I guess.
Tucked away in the corner.
Hello,
Yep.
hello.
How are you,
Again.
Josh?
I'm good.
Have you recovered from our last week and a half of adventures?
Oh, yeah, sort of.
We have
Sort of.
much. We have
Yeah.
much to discuss. But Andy, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah. Got some exciting news. I've got a barrel.
Oh, hello.
Yeah,
New developments.
Yeah.
We're emphasizing particular words tonight.
New
New
developments. All right. Yeah, so I've got a barrel. It's getting currently spun up. So I should be able to take it this weekend, possibly next, depending on when you're listening to this.
Right. Yep.
So,
Good.
yeah,
Soon.
very soon. It will probably get about 80 rounds through it and then straight into a match.
Fantastic. And so cartridge, what are we going?
6 Creed still.
Six Creed?
Yep,
Makes
so you're
sense.
sticking
What
with-
barrel? What barrel?
So I've got a proof.
Okay.
I've got a proof.
Yep.
There were plans to
Steel or carbon?
still.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't steal it? No. Just your hesitation to answer the question was like, is this under oath? or
Stealing something or carbon? How do you carbon something? No, steel.
Carbon. something.
Shiny stainless one.
Okay, good.
And it's a competition profile, so it's 28 inches and quite heavy. My thought was I can always remove weights out of my chassis,
You can.
and I haven't ran a very long barrel before, so
Here we go.
why not run it straight into a match?
Perfect.
So,
All right.
let's do it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So regular questions.
Yes.
I know she's got a break here. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Yeah.
But regular questions. What is going to be your break-in procedure? What are you going to do to this barrel before you got a match in like 2 weeks?
You're throwing me in the deep end here.
Here
People either
we are. Here we are.
hate it or agree.
Yes.
So my break-in, obviously, when I get it, I'll give it a good scrub out just to get out anything that's in there. I know people say you can just run straight into it, run rounds through it,
Yes,
won't
they do.
damage it.
Yep.
But what's the hurt in giving it a little clean? So
I mean, when you do it, when you say it like that, there's no hurt.
there's
obviously.
no hurt. It takes a bit of time. No,
Oh, wait, there's the hurt. There's the hurt. Okay.
bit of time,
Carry
a few
on.
patches. So I'll typically do shoot 1, clean, shoot 1, clean,
Yep.
shoot 3, clean,
Yep.
shoot 5, clean, and then I'm just after that straight into it. It might be 30 or 40 rounds before I clean it again.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then hopefully so my plan for my day that I take it out is to do that break-in.
Yep.
And then I'll do a sort of velocity node check. So step it up in 0.2 increments, find a flat spot in velocity. And then I think it will be straight into a match from there. I won't really get time to play around with seating depth or anything.
Right.
I've decided to leave the tuner off this barrel just to see how it goes.
Got it.
Why not?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's see how we go. Now, you brought your muzzle break in for a bit of show and tell this evening.
Yeah.
Tell me why you're going to show this.
Quite an adventure, that one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So-
There's more to this than
Obviously, nothing wrong with the muzzle brake. The muzzle brake works fantastic. It's
Great.
a really
Good
good
to
product.
Hear. Excellent. Great. And what's the discount code for it? You're plugging it because there's a code for no. Anyway,
So, as people know, I've been getting accuracy and bullet exploding issues. Now, whether that's barrel related or muzzle brake related, I'm not totally sure.
Okay.
We're pulling the old barrel off. We're going to give it a good scrub out and see if we can see any burrs or see what sort of condition it's in.
Yep.
But I thought, hey, while I'm getting a new barrel on, I should probably clean this thing. This started black. It was Cerakoted.
I think there's photos of this actually.
Yeah.
We do have photos
Josh
of
has
this.
photos of when it started.
And I really should have taken a before photo of
You
like
didn't. Yeah, you took a
inside
sort of
the
in
ports.
between photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have taken a photo of inside the ports and how it looked beforehand. so the APA Gen 3?
Sure.
Sure.
Yep.
All the ports are tapered in.
If you said Gen 4, you get a lot of questions. Yeah. A lot of interaction.
I know something you don't.
It's good for engagement.
So all of these ports have a pretty big taper on them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I took it off and I was looking, I said, well, I thought to myself, I didn't say it out loud. That's a bit crazy. I thought, I don't remember the last.
It sums up this podcast, but okay.
I don't remember the last 2 ports being straight. I thought all these ports were tapered. So there was that much carbon that when you looked in the port, it looked straight. And
wow.
So I had some CLR and I looked up some YouTube clips, looked at the directions of the CLR, 50-50 with warm water, let it soak for a few minutes, it'll loosen up all the stuff, you sort of scrape it off. Yep. Couple of minutes later, came back, no change, couldn't scrape anything out. Okay, half an hour later, no change. Got distracted for a couple of hours, came back, and I was like, hey, this black Cerakote's turning to a sort of a little tinge colour on it. I was like, oh, that doesn't look right. Oh, well. It
hasn't gone to plan.
No, it hasn't gone to plan. So, but some of the carbon was starting to break out and I could scrub it out.
Yep.
And then I thought, well, I can't just leave it like this. I've gone halfway. So I thought, stuff this. Let's just put it in 100% CLR.
Just dropped it in the bottle.
Almost, essentially. Yeah.
Okay.
And left it there overnight.
Yep.
And the next day.
Yep.
Came back and it was
gone. And so you ordered a new one. Is that what you're saying?
Not completely.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, a lot of the carbon had dissolved to the point where I could, scrub it out and chip
Just
it out.
lick it off.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
gone.
well.
Yep.
Don't advise licking CLR.
Or a break either.
What was it? Something we were talking about flavors a while ago.
What, CLR and carbon?
No, it was something.
It was an old joke. It's moved on.
An old joke.
We've gone.
Anyway.
We've gone on from that. Yeah.
So, and the more I chipped away at it, I was like, hang on, these ports are tapered.
This is a good sign.
There's a lot more carbon in here than I.
In fact, the brake's only half as big as I thought it was.
That's it. So I left it in there for another few hours, and then as I was cleaning out the carbon, I noticed all the Cerakote was coming off.
So that was Cerakoted.
That was black and Cerakoted. So that lock ring is Cerakoted. That didn't get dipped.
Yep.
So that's still
okay,
original.
That's been screwed. So that was that color.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the Cerakote all got stripped off
That
and
has
cleaned
now
off.
made my fingers that color.
There's a bit of oil on it. It's got a rust now. And so I just went,
wow.
I am in this now. I can't turn back.
No.
So
what color are you going to do your little knob now?
leaving it shiny.
Leaving your knob shiny. Good.
Yeah,
good advice.
Title for the podcast.
Shiny knobs.
That's it. So we, I just kept going with it, kept scrubbing, kept taking off the Cerakote, and then ended up doing a bit of a wet sandpaper, wet and dry sandpaper, fine grit, and a bit of brasso, and span it up in the drill because I've got a homemade lathe of a drill, and it's turned out really well. I don't mind it.
So you got a drill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it's going to look a bit worn.
If you want to get rid of your Cerakote, that's how you clean a brake.
Just soak it in.
I mean, it's
CLR.
pretty clean. To be fair, like I'll give you that. Yeah. I mean, it's missing its Cerakote, but it's pretty clean.
Yeah. So there you go. Lessons learned.
So if you want a shiny knob, CLR is the way to go.
That's right.
All right.
There you go.
Nice to go. I've got some things to try.
There you go. There you go. All right. Very good. We have a couple of comments or questions. Ian missed us all last week. Yes, Ian, we're going to talk about last week. We missed you as well, but there was no fireball, so it was good. You didn't miss out on too much. GK says, for the New South Wales match, make sure you guys rug up. Going to be bloody cold that weekend. We have information on rugging up, don't we, Josh?
I'm set.
We have stories, but we'll get onto those in a moment.
Yes. Cool.
Interested in the new MTT brake and if it lives up to the hype.
Oh, yeah, I've seen videos of that one. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, cool. And Ian also says this is why Andy shouldn't have nice things.
Well,
fair.
Someone's got to break nice things.
That's exactly right. Speaking of breaking nice things, we went to Victoria, Josh.
We did. We did Victoria things.
Into Victoria. So the PRS match, the Gunsport Winter Classic, sponsored by Gunsport Trading and also supported by Colours, was on, you're wearing the shirt. There you go.
Fancy that.
Was held over the weekend. The weekend just gone. And we left for the match. Now, it's a fairly long drive, about 14 hours. So we left the Sunday before to make sure we got there in time.
So you wanted to be there on the Thursday?
We didn't want to get there late.
Can't be too sure.
Can't be too sure.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, going through Melbourne, they could have had a lockdown.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Never rule it out.
Rule it out. Now, Josh, you shot a match on that Sunday.
I sure did.
Given this is a shooting podcast and we're about to spend the next 20 minutes talking about driving, how was the match? Tell us about it.
It was pretty good. I rocked up late.
Yes, you did.
I did. I rocked up and pretty much
Hang on. Let's roll back to that because now I remember. This is the match you told me was starting. Is this the match? No, that was a different one.
No, it's the whole. We've already talked about this one.
Oh,
that was
did we?
like weeks ago.
I just like to bring it up because it makes you feel
cool.
bad.
Let's
Righto.
just skip over that one.
Okay, move on.
It's
Off we
already
go.
happened.
Yep.
Yeah. So I rocked up. I wasn't even sure I was going to shoot the match.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good
because
start.
I saw the weather and went,
Oh,
You know
that's
what?
right. The weather was not.
it's absolutely
looking
bucketing down.
good.
If I don't shoot, whatever.
No big deal.
But ended up rocking up and then pretty much got out of the car and people were like, "You're up next." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Went and grabbed the gun and
Yeah, because so I was there as a range officer for the day, and everyone's like, "Oh, is Josh shooting?" I'm like, "Yeah, Josh shooting today." So put him in, and you were in.
I was.
Yeah.
Sorted.
Yeah, so I pretty much rocked up and went, all right, what am I shooting? And it was a skill stage, looked at skill stage, and there was a patch about this big that wasn't wet.
And how big is
Everything
this?
else
How
was
big
just
is
a
how big
puddle.
is this big for those people who listen to, which is the far majority of people?
This big is about a foot's width,
Okay, you foot or a normal person foot?
normal person foot.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I had to clarify.
Yeah. And so, yeah, just rocked up and started shooting.
If you wanted to
Nice
shoot
work.
that skill stage, which is skill stage 2, so there's kneeling positions.
Yep.
You were definitely getting most of your knee, if not all of your knee, and some of your shin wet.
Yeah.
I can confirm I did not commit.
You did not commit.
I did not put my knee in that puddle.
Well, of those who did, perhaps it was leading into the weekend after. But anyway, you shot a match. How'd you go?
I did. I came the 5th?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I can't remember.
Out of 4 people? 5 people?
3.
Fantastic.
No, I can't remember. I was after sort of the guys and the Joels and those types of people.
Guys and the Joels.
I was pretty happy
What
with
does that
that.
mean? Is that like a musical, Guys and Joels?
If I was more prepared, I would have got the scores up and I would have remembered these things.
Okay, good.
That's just a standard we live by. The guys and the Joels. of
The
the
guys
world.
and the Joels of the world. Good. All right. Joel's OnlyFans is actually still doing very well, so go check it out.
Oh,
Support
good.
it. Good to support local shooters.
Yep, all over it.
all
Plug
over
it every time we can.
So we left. We left after the match.
Yep.
And we got ourselves into Horsham, where we reverse parked into a motel, which we thought would be open. You open the back of the van and get some stuff out of the van and be great. And then we got told off by the Karen that was there, and she's like, "You can't reverse park." I'm like, "Oh, okay, why is that?" She's like, "Oh, well, people might trip over the tow ball." And when she said that, she looked at the rear of my car. There's no tow ball. I looked at the rear of the car, looked at her, looked at the car, looked at her.
Oh,
she looked
dear.
at the car, looked back at me, and I just said, "I'll move the car. It's okay. I'll just move the car. It's fine."
Wow.
So, anyway.
Stop arguments there.
Yeah, that was the nicest motel room for the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And so we had some Navy gin. Probably the whole story is punctuated by which gin we drank in which
okay.
motel.
Yes, okay.
Anyway, and so the next day we went off to Melbourne, about 4 hours away, and went into Melbourne and went out for pizza, traditional Italian pizza. You know, the proper pizza. Oh, have you had traditional Italian pizza?
I have.
Have you been to Italy?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
And you know that they put like 3 things on each pizza.
I know.
Yeah.
And it seems soggy.
Yeah.
Why?
Correct. So we went out for that.
Fantastic.
And so we ordered, I said, Josh, do you want to get a bruschetta to start with? And he said, "Oh, of course, we're in Italy." Well, Italian restaurant. And
Close
we're in
enough.
Italy. Yeah, I'm in. Sounds great. It arrived. Now, you know what bruschetta is.
Yep.
Everyone listening to this knows what bruschetta is.
Yep.
Do you know who doesn't know what bruschetta is? That guy over there who's running the show. It comes out caked with tomato.
What's it
that's-
gone? Oh, that's a funny looking garlic bread.
Caked
Maybe.
with tomato. And he's like, "Oh, well, you can have that." I'm like, Why is that? He's like, I don't eat tomato. I'm like, why did we get a bruschetta then?
I'm not cultured, all right?
I can tell. And so I said, you don't have to eat the tomato. I'll have the rest of the tomato. You can just have some of the bruschetta bread, I guess. Anyway,
But,
so we had our pizza. It was very good.
Yeah.
And then we stayed in the second best motel for the trip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the longest shower
Oh,
I have
my gosh.
ever seen.
It was massive.
Yeah. Like you would turn the tap
Still
on
talking-
We
Shower.
could have done the podcast in the shower.
legitimately and not got wet.
You're talking about size, not time then.
Correct.
The size of the physical size.
The physical size of the shower.
Right, not just like, I could have like a 20-minute shower.
No, I mean, you can do that in almost any shower.
You just leave the tap on.
I tried it once, went pretty cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway.
All right. Aren't you an electrician? Couldn't you fix that?
No, it's a gas issue.
Righto. So a massive shower. And then what do we do? So we went from there the next day.
Yeah.
The next day. Is there like a next day sound we can play?
How are the acoustics in the shower that big?
That's not a next day sound.
On the
It
next
is now.
day. That's the next day sound. We went to OSA, Outdoor Sporting Agencies.
cool.
And
Do you ask them where my ammo was?
I did.
Okay.
I did. And they
69
said-
bolt cans.
They said who?
Those guys are always playing a game. It's just
Actually, no, before this, have you got a rewind sound?
Uh,
That's it.
That's
The
close
rewind sound.
I'm pretty sure I did one a while back.
You did. Do one now. All right,
No,
cool.
that
right,
was
insert
terrible.
that now.
From now on,
Yep.
we'll have a rewind sound. And we went to my favourite cafe. So the SHOT expos that used to be in Melbourne back when we were allowed to like have fun was held at Flemington, the racecourse.
Yes. Yep.
In the expo area there. And not far from that is a great little cafe, Mama Bears, and it was good. Josh was a bit skeptical because he's not like getting up early, and so we went there, and that changed his mind, wasn't it?
it was quite nice.
Yep.
I thoroughly enjoyed that place actually.
Okay. Good.
I was skeptical by the hash brown.
Yeah. So I said that this is for the best hash browns in the world.
Yep.
Are they the best hash browns in the world?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I was more surprised because this hash brown came out and he told me how big they were going to be, and it was literally a hash brown, like I don't know.
It was a cube.
2 inches.
It was a cube, like
Yeah,
couple inches thick.
They're cube hash
Yeah.
browns.
Wow.
And you look at that and you go, "There's no way that's cooked properly in the middle."
Was
Sure
it
enough,
cooked? Was it cooked properly?
It
It
was
is.
cooked perfect.
And how was the
Wow.
coffee, Josh?
Coffee was the best coffee of the trip.
Wow.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And so it's one of my favourite cafes.
Mhm.
No, it's probably my favourite cafe in Melbourne.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of cafes in Melbourne.
I'll have to check that out someday.
Highly recommend. Anyway, so we went there and then we went to OSA and they said, Andy who? And then we went in there and we got a tour of the warehouse, which was awesome to see.
Yep.
And shout out to Harrison for taking care of us for the day. But we did a stack of filming, which is rad. And so one of the things we did was we did a live stream on Instagram on the OSA page with Dan from Hardy Rifles in New Zealand. That was really good fun. I'd never spoken to Dan, never met him, never done anything with him. And I met him at the beginning of the stream.
Fantastic.
So it was a really good way to do it. I mean, he was talking to Harrison on the phone prior, and I sort of like I was on speakerphone. I could sort of button with a couple of comments, but yeah, actually good. And the dude is top bloke,
Nice.
and talked about sort of the history and how they came to be, and sort of Hardy started with barrels, or no, they started with something else prior to that, didn't they?
Yeah, I can't remember. I was too busy taking photos.
And then barrels, and then moved on from all this sort of gear. It was a fantastic chat, and we played with one of the Hardy hybrids, and we played with a whole stack of Crimson Trace scopes, which is sitting over there at the moment. Actually,
That stream is still on Instagram.
is it doing all right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, good. And so yeah, it's all ticking away. It was good fun. It was a good day. And then I got chatting with some of the guys there, and then Josh just basically went on a TikTok rant.
Yeah.
And made some.
I did. I went on a spree of just filming everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The room they have, I think they've recently had it done, and it
it's
looked
little boardroom.
really, really nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you saw it?
I saw a few of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really
a lot of
nice
stuff
room.
around.
There's cool stuff in there.
Got some cool stuff.
So
Cool
anyway,
things to play with.
that was rad. So we did there for the day, and then we went over to what was that place called? Beaumaris.
Yep, that's the place.
And I think that was the worst motel room for the trip.
I would agree.
Yep, it was
Yep.
not great.
Worst,
it was pissing
worst
down.
cafe.
Not worst cafe, just worst motel.
Okay.
The aircon didn't work. there was a twin room, 2 beds.
Yep.
And it was really cold that night. And so we went to the cupboard to get the extra blankets. Twin room. How many blankets would you put in a twin room? What do you reckon, Andy?
You'd want at least 2 thin ones and 2 thick ones.
Okay, so multiples of 2.
That would be nice.
Multiples of 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. 1. There was 1 extra blanket.
Well, someone's getting cuddly.
Do you know what? I didn't realize how polite Josh and I are. Because I'm like, all right, well, we've got 1 extra blanket. Let's put it in the middle between the 2 beds on the ground. And whoever's coldest can grab it. Like if you need it, grab it. Neither of us grabbed it.
It stayed on the floor.
We're just way too polite.
Geez.
Anyway, that's all right. So I looked up, where are we gonna eat? And a mate of mine made a suggestion. We looked at it and we're like, oh, it's not what we feel like eating.
Yeah,
like
it would have been fine.
Looked amazing.
The food looked all right.
But I think because we went out for the Flash Italian the night before, we didn't anyway. Yeah. And so we looked up on Google because that's what you do. And I'm like, oh, Josh, oh my gosh, best news ever. No, take it back. Never mind. There was a gin bar, 2-minute walk. 2-minute walk around the corner.
So close.
That would have been dangerous.
2 minute. Wouldn't bother with eating. Although I think they serve meals for some reason. Closed on Tuesday nights. We were there Tuesday night.
That was a poor planning on your behalf. Yeah.
But that was them.
Yeah, it was their fault.
Why be closed on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's peak gin night.
So we were off to the Argentinian restaurant that we were suggested, and we're driving past, and I saw this little sign that says Taco Bell, and I'm like, I know Taco Bell. It's not Taco Bell. It's way better. And one thing at Taco Bell, you order the fishbowl size margaritas.
Yeah.
So they're like this big, and it's like the size of your head, basically, full of margarita. Like
it was good.
Yeah, and if you order one, you get a sombrero for ordering one with Taco Bell on it. So
Got to bring my sombrero.
guess who is the proud owner of a new Taco Bell hat? That guy over there.
Guy.
Hey.
Yeah, because I've got like 7 of them from previous. And so I don't know if you're aware of Josh's fascination with spicy food, as in he's so fascinated he won't go near it.
I've heard rumours.
So we had some challenges in ordering.
It's a miracle I'm in this room. There's chili gin next door.
Oh, yeah.
There is
Fantastic.
we had some challenges ordering, but we ordered.
Yep.
And we got ourselves some Mexican for the night. And then we met up with a couple of shooters that night and had some espresso martinis, if I remember it correctly. But I think we had enough espresso martinis that I don't remember correctly. But anyway, the next morning, and around this time, the next morning I got up very early. Because one of our missions had been, we are working our way to a shooting conversation. Just relax, all right. We're working our way towards the Winter Classic, the Gunsport Winter Classic. Now this is in Buchan. Buchan is basically the foot of the high country. It's Buchan cold.
I can imagine. Yeah.
We were looking at the weather reports. It was going to be very Buchan cold, and so we were thinking we should buy heated jackets. Because, why not?
Yeah, I have often thought about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, seems that it's easier to think about it than to do it. So we went to Total Tools the day before. Well, press that rewind button again there, Josh. Perfect. And I went there and said, can I buy one of these Milwaukee hoodies or the Bosch hoodies or something on those lines? No, we don't have any of those, mate. What you want is one of these ones here, the cheapy Chinese made with a massive battery pack and all this sort of gear.
Classic salesman.
Yep.
All right, well, you're out of the Milwaukee ones. I understand. All right, I'll grab one of these.
Yep.
In the worst motel room of the trip, I put it on and it became the worst hoodie of the trip. And I went, this thing feels terrible, doesn't look great, and is about to catch on fire. So I put it all back in the box, and the next day we ventured off to a Total Tools and took it back. I'm like, look, I bought this the other day. We want to change it out for a decent one. I'm not convinced it's good. And they were good. They were very good to us because they said, oh, no, you have to take it back to where you bought it from. I'm like, yeah, we don't live here or anywhere near that place. That's the other side of Melbourne. Can you guys just help us out? Anyway, they were very good to us and helped us out. They didn't have the hoodie or jackets that I wanted at all. But they had the one Josh was eyeing off. So Josh got himself
That's
a
great.
heated jacket.
Heaps of the stuff I wanted.
You got a hat, hoodie.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
He's all over
I
this. He
was
was all dressed up.
sorted.
Yeah. You're nice and warm then.
Yeah, like perfectly warm.
Oh, good, good.
So the next morning, after the Mexican incident, I went off at 7 a.m. to go and find one of these hoodies. Apparently, this Total Tools had Sydney Tools. Total Tools, one of them
Something tools.
had some tools. Had one of these in stock. So I went down there and I'm presented, and I said, "Mate, I'm after one of these Milwaukee hoodies," and he said, "No, we're out of stock of them." I'm like, "You're out of stock of the things I can just see there?" And he's like, "Oh no, they're not a heated one." So I walked up to him like, "This heater one that says heated on it?" "Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess we got that one." I'm like, "It's the wrong size. Do you have any more?" "Nah, he looked up on the thing and he's like, "Oh no, those boxes don't look right." I'm like, "The hoodies don't come in a box." And he's like, "Oh, so do you want to trade jobs or something?"
Just like
Anyway, so I started looking
first
around.
day. Yeah.
Oh man, he was not great. And I went over to this little basket and they had a bunch of hoodies in there, and we worked through. He ended up being all right.
Yeah.
And worked through, and then we got the battery and we got the hoodie and we got the thing. We got it sorted.
Nice.
So we had heated paraphernalia. Oh, Josh has just disappeared.
He does that.
Okay. All right, good. We got heated paraphernalia.
Yep.
So we were set for Buchan. And then we had some projectiles we had to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude rang, and we were on our way to go and pick up a microphone,
Okay.
from a store that we buy. We buy lots of microphones and all this sort of bits and
Yep.
pieces. End up buying these headphones from
Oh,
them.
very nice.
And he rings up. He's like, "Hey, man, where are you? Got to meet you. I'm heading into Dandenong now." I'm like, "Oh, cool, mate. We're just going to DJ City." And he just pissed himself laughing. And I'm like, "What's going on?" He said, "You said DJ City, right?" I'm like, Yeah, that's where we're going now. We got to pick up a microphone, then we're off to Beretta. And he said, "Oh, you won't believe it, but my wife's the accounts manager there.
Oh,
I'll see you there."
fantastic.
So we met up in the car park of DJ City doing dodgy projectile handovers.
Fair enough.
Got all the projectiles, went in, and apparently now we've got a trade account with these guys to
Fantastic.
get microphones cheaper and
Jeez.
headphones cheaper. Anyway,
That's good.
the people you meet, it's
That's
amazing. That's why I like traveling. And then we went to Beretta. I alluded to that before.
Yep.
So we went to Beretta, and that was great. Josh, you've never been to Beretta before.
I have not.
Do you want to regale us with your experience? for the first
Tell
time?
me, I haven't been there.
Tell Andy, he hasn't been there.
Well, I've heard stories that Beretta is like very nice.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
so coming from OSA, like I saw their room that they had.
Oh,
and
no,
I
let's not put one against the other. All right, it's not a
yeah.
competition.
Okay. So walk up to this place and the first thing that got me was you go into these, went up to the main part of the building, and
Yeah.
there's no branding outside.
Nothing
So
at all.
you're just looking at this building and you're going, cool.
Top secret.
Yeah, really top secret. But then you walk inside, someone presses the button and you open in and it's just Beretta
Nice.
plastered on the wall with some nice clocks. And you're like, oh, this place is nice.
It is nice.
And then some Canadian bloke walks through the door and just
Oh, hey, guys!
ruins the whole experience.
I can just imagine his voice now.
He was in the warehouse and you could hear him coming.
Yeah.
He was in OSA's warehouse. And
And
you
he-
could hear him at
yeah.
Beretta.
Is he walking around juggling balls? What was he
Had his
doing?
balls
He
out.
had his balls out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. So Dave Acker was our tour guide for the day.
He was, and took us through their sort of the Beretta experience from how you first walk in all the way to their lovely show off room is what I'm going to call
Show-off
it.
room.
Show off room.
Nice. Yeah.
Righto.
But yeah, you go through the first room. If you just got nice leather couches everywhere, you've got
A
full
nice
display.
leather couch. You have
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
had a lisp built into it.
Yeah.
That's how
That's
nice
perfect.
it is.
Very nice.
Press the English button, please. Da-da-da. Thank you.
Done.
Top
That
bloke.
won't make any sense for the episode that we recorded that's going to be played in a few weeks. but,
Oh, yeah.
but good to keep things in good continuity there, Eddie.
People will listen to that and be like, oh, yeah.
What? Oh, yeah. What a throwback.
Little Easter egg.
What a throwback. Anyway, carry on.
And anyway, yeah. So Dave walks through. They've got this platform that you can put a rifle on, and it just sits
Shotgun.
there spinning. Shotgun.
Yeah.
You could
It
put
doesn't know the
anything on it
difference.
really.
Yeah.
It shoots stuff. Yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't. It spins stuff. It doesn't shoot things.
Yeah. Whatever.
Cool.
Cool. Anyway, yes, you go through this lovely room, leather couches everywhere,
Yeah.
scopes just lined up across different shelving, and then
Yeah.
you walk up to this this not a door that looks like a wall, and it just
Real
opens,
fake doors.
Real fake doors.
Fake doors.
Opens up and you walk into their show-off room, and it's just rifles, shotguns, everything across this room.
Fantastic.
Just
It does look really good.
Ultimate
it
man
looks
cave, sort of.
really, really nice. If I was prepared, I would have a photo of it, but I'm not prepared. So here we are.
So there's a photo for those guys who are not watching live.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
Right
go.
there.
Yeah.
So we spent the day with Beretta. Much like with OSA, we filmed a whole stack of stuff. It was really good fun, and we got access to a bunch of gear that we could actually play with.
Fantastic.
Did a podcast with them for another podcast, not related to this one.
Yep.
We played with a $120,000 shotgun. That video on YouTube is coming soon. And there is, I looked at Josh, that video is coming soon, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I think so.
So all that stuff was really good, and it was a good time. We had some meetings and bits and pieces, but they looked after us very well. So
Fantastic.
good fun, and we were able to do like a bit of breakdown on some of the aim point stuff, which was good, starting to get my head around that sort of gear, and actually had a look at one of the Steiner IFS ones.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Jarrett did a video with one of those.
Yeah.
We actually like played with it, and it was they're better than I thought they were. Let's put it on that. They're better than I thought they were.
That's
so,
good. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty legit. So
Very
that
good.
was good. And then we finished up with those guys. We were planning to finish up at 3. We finished up at 5 because we were enjoying ourselves too much. And then we hightailed it off to Bairnsdale.
Did.
Which
Straight down.
you have to say that way. Bairnsdale.
Bairnsdale.
There you go, Andy.
Bairnsdale.
That's right.
That's the one.
Perfect. Excellent. So we hightailed it off to Bairnsdale, which is about, it was about three
About
hours
3.5
from Melbourne.
hours.
Yeah, something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And got into Bairnsdale, which is the home gun sport trading, which is part of the reason we were there. Stayed in the motel. That was the, let's say, third best motel for the
Yeah, it was
trip.
average.
Yeah, it was fine.
Livable.
It was fine. The shower wasn't bad at that one, anyway. But there was someone's parked in our spot, so
Classic.
Yeah, those guys.
we just parked.
Classic
Yeah, we pretend-
Bairnsdale people.
Probably not if they're staying in the motel. Just to be fair. And so we had Hungry Jack's there. I remember that part.
Classic
Yeah.
Bairnsdale home stays.
Classic, but biggest restaurant in town. Then the next morning, we went off to the Wooden Squirrel, which I called all sorts of things because I couldn't remember the name of it, but I knew it had a squirrel involved in it.
Yeah, all I remember was just the squirrel.
The squirrel part.
We found it.
We had breakfast there, and then I went and bought jeans. And the
Yeah.
the girl that was at the jeans place thought she won the lottery. She's like, "Oh, do you want this one or this one?" I'm like, "I'll take 4 of them, thanks."
She,
I hate shopping.
Yeah.
she was a jean fanatic, though.
Ah, right.
I'd never heard such tips for looking after jeans.
Wow.
I didn't know you had to look after
I
jeans.
still don't remember them. She's telling me all these ways of like washing them. I'm just like, I'm not going to remember any of these.
I remember one of
Yeah.
it was put them in the freezer.
Oh, that's right. If
Putting
you're around,
jeans in the freezer
if you're
does
around a
something.
smoke, if you're around a fire and there's
Yeah.
smoke all over the jeans, put them in the freezer.
Yeah.
And then like you can cut them up and serve them with porridge or something. I don't. What was the end bit? I didn't listen.
I don't know, leave them in the freezer.
Freezer in the
Right.
freezer.
Just-
Yeah.
Because I've heard of putting clothing in the freezer if you get like bubble gum and stuff stuck to them.
Oh,
It
okay.
freezes it off. But interesting for
There you go.
smoking
For
things.
smoking things. I'm like, but then you don't get the cool factor of having been around a fire. Like, what's the
Yeah.
point of this? Who even are
I
you?
often don't wash clothes because they smell like bonfire.
That's
Exactly.
I put my clothes on the bonfire, and actually that might explain a few things. So we went to Gunsport Trading,
Yep.
hung out with Andrew and the team there. They're smashing it. Those guys.
They are.
Yeah.
It looked really
We
nice.
went there a
in
year ago, Josh.
Yeah.
And they were in basically their shop was the size of this studio.
It felt like we walked down sort of a back alley to get there
Yes,
as well.
it did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're kind of walking up going, is this legal? We're going down a back alley here. Something doesn't feel
Go
right.
buy a
Yeah,
gun.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
damn straight. And then they're in this huge premise. It was brilliant. And then they're good people. They're good
They are.
people. And
I was particularly happy they had a shelf that had all like
did.
optics and stuff on top of it, but the bottom part of the shelf just had like old projectiles and
Yeah.
bullets
Military
and
things.
just knives and everything, and it
I
just
saw that video.
there
That
was a
really
full
cool.
history to the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was really cool.
Yeah, that
Very
was
nice.
that was excellent. So we hung out with them. Josh put together a bit of video for them that'll I'm sure we'll get sorted out soon. But and then it was time, Andy. It was time.
To end this episode. No.
We're out. See you guys. No. We've still got time. It was time
All
to
that
talk about
sus-
shooting
All
again.
that suspense.
All that suspense.
Yeah.
All that suspense. To go to the Buchan range.
Yes, finally.
Actually, no, we didn't, did we?
Ah,
No, we didn't. That was the plan. We thought we'd sneak into the accommodation, unload the van, and then go to the range and start setting up the match.
Logical.
Do you reckon that happened?
No.
No.
Not by the way you're talking about it.
Correct. we went to the range, to the accommodation, right? And I thought, this is the way I thought. I thought I would drive as close to the back door as I possibly can because we had a lot of stuff to unload. Then, just take the stuff we needed to the range. Is it fair and reasonable thinking, Andy?
Yeah.
Is that fair and reasonable? Yeah. So the driveway is gravel. The backyard is grass. It had been raining for about 13 weeks in the lead up to this event. And I drove onto the grass. And
Soggy.
I drive a van, and as soon as the tyres hit the grass, I went, "This is a bad idea."
You didn't have your mud tyres on.
I didn't have my brains in. That's what I didn't have. And as soon as I went in, I went, And of course, there's so much weight in the van. One, because I'm sitting in it. But two, there's targets in it, and there's everything's in the van.
Yep.
Right?
The single heaviest box of targets that I felt.
Correct. And there was two of them. And so we sunk. We sunk.
Oh, dear.
Hang on. Wait. We?
Me in the van. I'm talking.
Okay,
I'm not
good.
including you in this story. Far out.
Don't include me in that one.
Any credit for this. All right. So Josh's harebrained idea was let's let the tyres down and let's roll our way out. Yeah. Didn't work.
Classic four-wheel drive tipping.
Yeah, exactly right. Didn't work.
Tipping.
Did not work in the slightest.
All right. So anyway, we thought, all right, well, let's repurpose our use of time. Let's build build some of the stuff and do all the bits and pieces that we can do for setting up a match that we can do in a house.
Yep.
So we did. We made the banners, and that was about it.
Yeah, to be fair.
Perfect.
So speaking of Trent, Trent was the match director. Trent was coming down. He was coming down that night.
Yep.
And he's got a Prado. I rang him up. What car you bring? Prado. I'm like, cool. That should be enough to pull us out. I said, you got any tow ropes or anything? He said, no, I don't. I took it out because I didn't think I'd get anyone stuck in a mud-infested bucket.
Yep.
Oh, maybe he would. Anyway, that's not a criticism of him. I'm the one that got the van stuck. I went, all right. I said, Josh, I'm going to go over to the pub. I'm going to speak to Sean or Bricky or someone and see someone's got a tow rope, surely.
Yep.
They don't need to pull the van out. They just need to lend us a rope. So when Trent gets there, we can get the van out. We'll start setting up tomorrow. We'll do all the bits and pieces with targets tonight. All right, cool. Went over to the pub. Went and saw Sean. Sean's the local lad there looking, always looks after us. Walked in there. He's, Rusty, welcome back. That's sort of good to see you. Excellent. I said, mate, we'll be here for dinner tonight. But prior to that, do you guys have a tow rope at all? He's like, no. Let me ask around. I asked everyone in the pub. No one had one. He said, you should have been here 20 minutes ago. There was a big Unimog here. That would have pulled you out. No problems at all. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
That helps.
That didn't help. He said, no, over the road, the person that runs the roadhouse, she's into full driving. She probably has one.
Yep.
I went, fantastic, excellent. So I went over and I've walked in, I've said hi, we're next door, we're here to run the competition. Oh, perfect, I want to speak to you. Like, what time's the comp start? What time do we need to open? Because they look after us there.
They're really good
They're
there.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And I said, great, here's the details. Now, I've got a problem. I've got my van stuck in next door, not on the range, which is sensible to get stuck, although I was very cautious on the range, less cautious at the house. And so I said, do you have a tow rope? She's like, yeah, I do. Went out to the car and she's like, here you go. This is something you could use. I'm like, it is. Oh, great. Excellent. All right, cool. Can I borrow this? I'll drop it back tomorrow. She's like, you just want to take my Land Cruiser? I'm just like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
She's like, great. Just don't break it and off you go. All right.
As you do.
As you do.
In a small town like Buchan.
I know.
Just have a 200 series Land Cruiser. Take it.
Fantastic.
It was a V8. It was nice.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Jumped in there. So I drove back, reversed it in, knocked on the door. I'm like, hey, Josh, slight upgrade from the tow rope.
We have a Land Cruiser.
We have a Land Cruiser. What are you doing the Savo?
I cashed in the van.
So anyway, we got that out. We all good. Dropped that back. She was lovely. Thank you so much. The Buchan Roadhouse. Go check it out. Spend all your money. And we went back to the range and took the van down there. And so I don't know if you remember 2021, the Buchan shoot. we remember
The
that.
buck and shoot.
The buck
There was
and-
no,
the,
there was
the-
no
the-
shooting.
the lack of buck and shoot.
Oh, okay.
We went there on the Thursday. We were setting all the targets up. We'd
Yep.
set all the target frames up, not the targets. And then we went into lockdown and we had 2 weeks quarantine, all that sort of gear.
Fun stuff.
I started watching Formula One. Another story.
Good times.
Again. And so we went there. 90% of the frames we set up were still there. A year later.
Fantastic.
One less thing we didn't have to do.
Yeah. So we were like
Awesome.
walking out there like, that's the frame. Yeah. Because the course of fire hadn't changed much. You're Josh. Trent had replaced a few of the courses of fire that he'd sort of lent out, let other clubs run and stuff. So he's
See
like,
how they went. Yeah.
I won't run that course of fire, or I'll do a new one.
Yep.
So there's a couple of changes, but 80% of the match was the same. So we're like, well, these are pretty much all done. So we put a few in. We changed a few things, didn't we?
Yeah,
Josh. We
there
put
wasn't much.
few targets up and bits and pieces, and then we're like, all right, well, we are running out of light. Let's go. So we did that, went back, Trent rolled up, and we went over the pub and did the buck and pub thing, which was always enjoyable.
Yeah.
We walked back over. So there's a couple of volunteers that sort of rolled in that night, and then we walked back, and Josh and I think were sitting there. The other guys were at the pub, and this bloke wanders in, a guy called Pete. Introduced ourselves, chatting away, and I was going to get onto the story earlier, but it's related to this.
Okay.
So he's like, "Oh, I know you guys are into a gin. Have you had any gin on the way over here?" And we're like, we bought our own gin, but we haven't gone into locals. We didn't quite have the time to do that. We were too busy getting stuck in the mud. And so so he recommended a place, so we bought 4 bottles from them that night.
Fantastic.
And that's this one that rolled up, and that it looks like wine. What I'm trying to do is justify why I'm drinking from wine glass.
Nice.
Josh's got
Mine has bullets in it.
ammo in his.
So you got the bottles of gin.
Yeah.
And the glasses.
And they came with glasses.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway.
Because that sort of style of glass I would associate with port, maybe.
Port?
Or
Yeah.
or a dessert wine. But
Yeah, correct.
Very nice.
But this is gin. These are these are gin fusions. They're like ready to drink type things.
Cool.
Anyway.
Pretty
and
Pretty good.
yeah, and so earlier tonight, we allowed one of our editors to choose the gin for the night. Now, remembering we're in June. Wow, can't even remember that. We're in June, and he chose the summer peach.
Perfect.
Right time of year.
Nailed it. Anyway, how do we get onto that? The next day.
He's no longer working.
And that was his last shift. We are here on the Friday practice, all the things. Oh, everything went pretty normal. Did the things, anything to remark, Josh, for Buchan?
I think so. Had the primer stuff started on Friday?
I don't believe so.
Did they have the sod competition?
So match happened,
Yep.
and Butters cleaned that one up.
Well done.
It was the first one to shoot it.
Yeah, first one to shoot it and
set the pace.
yeah.
Wow.
And
there you go.
look, shout out to a couple of local lads who, to be fair, were at the bottom of the table on Sunday night. Were like second and third in the 22 shoot.
Oh, wow.
That was so close. They just didn't quite have the time, but they had the accuracy.
Oh, very good.
So shout out to those guys. And then so Friday, normal practice session. Pretty low key.
Pretty standard.
Yeah, did all the things. Probably not a whole lot to mention about that. And so we'll move on then. Friday night, wild. Just absolutely nothing special. Went to the pub, had dinner. What did you have on Friday night, Josh? Do you remember?
I think I went in the good old schnitzel.
Oh yeah, good old schnitzel.
Yeah,
I shouted
Aussie
chili
schnitzel.
So I mean, the reason we talk about this, Buchan pub is like the highlight of the match.
It is. It's a really nice pub.
It's a great pub, good food, and so Thursday I had the chili schnitzel.
I did not.
Friday I had the avocado, bacon, and chicken. That was great. Anyway, so Saturday morning rolls around, and it is match day.
We are into it.
We are into the Gunsport Winter Classic.
Thank you for everyone holding out.
Finally, what are we like 40 minutes into the podcast?
And that's it. Time to end the podcast.
Yeah, and then the match happened, and then
Cliffhanger.
And that was it.
And there we go. So no, the match was good. Match was good, but there was this problem. Now I was aware of this problem maybe rearing its ugly head. I've been watching the forums and monitoring things as you do, and there was talk about a CCI primer issue.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've
primers.
just recently bought a bunch of CCI primers.
Which ones?
Oh,
BR4s.
I think you're okay.
Okay.
These ones seem to be the 450s.
Okay. They're the Magnums, aren't they?
Yeah. Now, if you wind back to 2019, about May 2019, this is pre-COVID.
What was yesterday?
Yeah.
you just broke Andy.
I don't remember what the start of this podcast.
Yeah.
There was the first match, Monado.
Mm.
We had a similar problem with the BR4s, I believe. If
Okay.
my memory serves me well, which it usually doesn't. So someone will correct me. But there was a problem with primers back then.
Okay.
And just primers sporadically would not work.
Right.
Right? You pull the trigger and powder was loaded, et cetera, et cetera. And it sort of wreaked a bit of havoc at the match where like we in these guns that we go in, so two hang fires and the gun gets pulled off the line, gets inspected, gets checked to try and work out what's going on because it's potentially unsafe. And then you work out the primers. And we didn't have any forewarning of that match. We did. And so you see it and you're like, oh, it must be something with primers. Like this is the only thing I can think. And then someone else had the issue. And off memory, that Monado match, there was probably about 8 people who had an issue.
Yeah, right.
8 or 9 people. And so I saw some of this chatter in the lead up to Buchan. And I had a conversation with someone Saturday morning about it and then we started seeing it happen. And I believe there was 7 different people.
Wow.
Who had.
Was there 7 different people?
I think there was some to a very minor degree, others to a pretty major degree.
Okay.
Had primer issues with these, and they just and it actually exposed a loophole, a weakness in the PRS rules.
Yep.
Of dealing with this as an issue. So that's getting attention. Because, it's not something you expect to have so many primer failures over a god. Like you're talking like, so in the PRS doesn't have hang fire rules itself, but clubs do. And so you've got to interpret what you do in that scenario. And so back from 2017, we sort of, actually, no, maybe it was 2019. It was out of 2019 that effectively, if it was something within your control, round didn't feed or you hadn't put powder in or something on those lines, you didn't get a reshoot.
Yep.
But if it was something that was effectively outside of your control, like a primer not going off or something on those lines, you did get a reshoot. And that's great until you have to do 4 reshoots on the same stage.
Rough.
And you might think, oh, well, then you got a really good advantage of like building those positions again and getting to know the stage. Yeah. That is definitely counteracted by the frustration and the mind games of like, is this shot going off?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. If you every shot you're pulling the trigger and you're thinking, is this going to go bang or not?
Exactly right. Messes with you.
Yeah.
So we had at least one shooter in tears.
Wow.
Over it, just from frustration of it's not working.
Especially the mind games of your first stage of the day. And 4 times in a row.
I reshot the stage 4 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was on day 2. So
that's just
there was no sort of ability to deal with that outside of that sort of you get a reshoot, and then that slowed the match down.
Yeah. Eats into your time. Yeah.
Eats into your time. So that's being addressed as a separate matter in the PRS rule side of things. That it's got to be balance there of like oh well that sucks. It's not really your fault. To we actually have to keep this match going.
Yeah.
And we can't afford to. So there's a balancing act.
For sure.
So the reshoots and the hang fires aside to be dealt with soon or prior to the next match, which you're shooting.
Okay. Yep.
Because that's probably still going to be a problem for a while. Because last time this happened, it was a problem for a few months. The match, Trent was match director, did a great job. From the reports I've seen, the stages were creative. There was one stage, which I still haven't recovered from, was the shooters had to, I don't remember the start of it, but at some point they jumped into my van.
Oh,
I can talk you through it. I remember.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do.
I've seen the videos.
Before we run that particular stage, it was a muddy weekend.
Yeah, I saw a lot of wet pants.
It was a muddy weekend. And so I think Josh is going to find something to prove how muddy it is. But it was, now, let me clarify. It wasn't a particularly wet weekend,
Yes.
but it had been wet in the lead up. So
Yep.
the ground. I mean, we were out putting up targets and we were sliding all over the place,
Oh, wow.
putting up targets. Right. So there's just like this. It's just mud. I mean, it's pretty clayish around there as well, and so it's just
That
it's all over.
Buchan dust is either dust or mud.
It's either fine dust or complete mud.
Yep.
And this is complete mud. And so day one, where the firing line was, it was just literally. I was impressed with the shooters because they just committed, and pretty much every shooter just ended up from like boobs down to knees in just mud.
Yep.
Right. And those who did well had bought the appropriate attire for that, and those who didn't. There's one particular shooter who like came up and he'd put on, he's sort of prone stage and he put on his jacket and he put on his pants and he's like had everything sorted. He's like, oh, I'm all set to go for this stage, all the waterproofing gear. Well, he came up to me after the stage and he lifted up his like waterproofing top and just lifted it up a little bit over his tummy. And he's like, might have missed a spot here. And the lower half of his tummy was just covered in mud, where as he's moved around or something like that, it's ridden up, exposed the bottom of his hoodie and just put mud all over it. Anyway, it was a very muddy match. And I like commend the shooters because unlike the wuss over here in the corner of the match the week before, wouldn't even put his knee in a slight little bit of water. These guys were full send into mud. I mean, to be fair, that's every stage. Full send into mud the whole weekend. It was very good. So day two, we had a couple of stages to finish off from the night before because of the timing.
Yep.
And the firing line was moved forward 5 meters. Right, to basically give a fresh start.
Yes.
So at least you weren't like starting the day in mud.
Yep.
You had a little bit of relief.
Yep. That's a good idea.
Which was great. There was also another more selfish reason. Probably couldn't have actually driven the van into position into the mud. It would not have.
It was dicey as it was.
It would not have gotten into position that it was needed to be shot out of. And there was a trailer as well to be shot out of. Those items would not have got into the position how muddy it was from the shooting position. So firing line was moved forward 5 meters. Not enough to compromise target distances, but enough to get some clean ground to do. And when I said to Trent, you can use the van, that's fine, but you better speak to someone who's there with a full drive to be able to pull us out of the mud, which was, well, good.
Very good.
Josh.
Yes.
Oh, you've got the stage brief.
I've got the match book. I thought I'd be smart. I get things right.
There we go. Finally, a decent producer. Right.
So the stage was, if the van's rocking, don't come knocking.
Yeah, and they still shot through it.
Appropriate name.
They still bothered me.
Yep.
Right. Carry on.
So the stage was, shooter starts port arms, magazine in, bolt back. On the signal, shooter will utilize a tripod to shoot through the tires and engage the near target with 2 rounds and the far target with 2 rounds.
Right, so just on that, that was not through the tyres on the van, Andy.
No.
Just so you don't think that we're trying to shoot.
There was a stack of tyres about chest height, wasn't there?
You're spot on.
Yeah.
There was a stack of about 4 tyres and then there was one vertical, one in a different position so you could shoot through that one.
Yep.
Yes, correct.
Of which there is a very funny video of a shooter running up to it and bumping it with their barrel and knocking it.
Yeah, to then stopping and people going, are you going to keep shooting? But I have to shoot through it. That was great.
Yeah, anyway. In designing stages, should have bolted that tyre down so if it took a bump, it wouldn't. Anyway, that's on anyway, carry on.
Anyway, from then.
So you shoot those targets for 4 rounds.
And then shooter will enter the van utilising the crate as the front support and engage the targets near to far with 1 round each.
So in my van, both of the doors, there's 2 doors, one on either side, and you can slide them both back.
Yep.
So you can go in from one side and there was a crate inside there and you can shoot out the other door.
Yep.
That's
pretty cool.
They would have ended up with holes in it. Okay, good.
Yep.
Carry on.
And then shooter was to utilise the tripod as front support and engage the targets near to far with 1 round each. So you had to shove the crate to the side, get your tripod and fold it all up and then make your position and shoot from it in there. So
the first position with the tripod was standing. That second position there you're talking about, you're in the van. So you're effectively kneeling or sitting. Yeah. That's whichever one you want.
Yeah. And then from there, it was shooter will exit the van through the boot and resume a seated position. Feet may touch the ground, utilising the tripod as the front support shooters will engage the targets far to near. Finally, shooter will engage the far target with 2 rounds from the prone position.
Wow.
So just to clarify, that prone position thing was turfed, by the way.
Oh, was
That
it?
last position was gone again because of a timing factor, or 3 of the stages, one in each position on the final day was brought back in time with a few shots taken out of each to try and balance the day. And it worked really well, actually.
Yeah, nice.
Just read through the part where you've got to go through the van. Just want to clarify that.
So it was shooter will exit the van through the boot and resume a seated position.
Andy, let me ask you a question about that. If you were inside the van, you've walked in like one side door and you were shooting out the other side door, and the stage instruction said you have to exit through the boot, what would you do?
Well, you shimmy down the length of the van inside to the boot. You exit through the boot.
That's what I thought. Guess what one shooter didn't do? Exactly that. They decided to throw their stuff through the boot and then come out the door they went in and walk around the side of it. And then
Well, that's not exiting through the boot. That's exiting out the side and then entering into the boot.
They then took 4 shots, hit all 4.
Oh,
Guess how many of those counted?
zip.
Correct.
That's unlucky.
Yeah.
Shooter was gutted. And fair enough, they shot well, but you've got to follow those stage briefs.
Yep.
You've got to.
It's in the finer details.
I know. Anyway, that's
So
the
that's
way
a
it
very,
was.
very tripod heavy stage.
It was
Yes.
designed to be,
Okay,
like
very
a lot
nice.
of setting up and pulling down and that
Bit
sort
of gear to
thing.
organise.
Mm.
What was
Yeah.
the time on that whole stage then?
About 5 minutes.
Okay. So it was a long stage.
There was honestly not a lot of time pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Trent brought that time down because of the
Not
2
sure.
shots.
So it's
dropped
300
off.
seconds here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, which is also 5 minutes, by the way. And so,
Better write that down.
So it would have been 5 minutes then on the day, because I remember talking to one shooter who did all the proper things, exited through the back.
Yeah.
But I guess to try and save time, when they got into the van, they'd left one of the legs all undone because he had it really low, so that when you moved out of the van, the legs would just drop. Problem was, they said they had so much time left at the end, but they kept getting onto the tripod and it would just start to fall down. And at first, they thought it was just sinking into the mud. So just, brought it up, tried moving it, again, nothing, and then went through the process of adjusting one leg, getting back into position, and then the next thing would move and all the way down. And I was like, that's rough.
they did have time on that
Frustrating.
stage. Yeah, absolutely. So that was as a person who didn't shoot the match, as a person who didn't see a whole lot of the match, to be honest, that looked like an interesting
Looks
stage.
like a fun stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're buying a van at a club.
I've already got a van.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, sort of.
But you don't want holes in yours, do you?
What are you shooting?
Yeah.
My van is still full of mud.
Fair enough.
Still full of mud. So, but we got there, and the match went, and it was good. It always has your teething issues, and looked, Trent's written a couple of matches for national matches, but that's the first time he's actually run one.
Yeah, okay.
And so he learnt lots and took lots on.
Yep.
Lucas McKinney, who won, smashed it. The guy was, you saw him much more than I did, Josh.
It was just in a league of his own.
He
Just
was.
every single stage you watched him, you went, he's in the zone.
Yep.
Every minute of the day was just on point.
So give me an idea. He scored 139 points.
Yep.
I don't know what the match was out of because there was a few changes to the match.
Mm-hmm.
Second place was drawn on points, 118.
Oh, wow.
21 points separated second to first. He was not just a bit better. He
smashed it.
He smashed it. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, so it was good. It was great to see, and then shout out to Birchie, who came second, and Ash, who came third.
Yep.
And there was just 1 point on skill stage
Jeez.
that separated those boys, so they did well.
Even without the accounting for the number of points that were dropped, it was 161 in total before points were dropped.
I think there was about 7 points or so dropped out of that.
So he would have cleaned a lot of stages then.
He did very well.
Very
Did
nice.
extremely well. So
Well done.
that was good. And then, of course, Sunday night.
The big Sunday night.
The big Sunday. Now, you know this. You know PRS Sunday nights are often fun.
Off hook.
Oh, fuck. Fun. Enjoyable. So our friend over here, who hasn't been around PRS that long, has experienced a couple of PRS matches.
Yes.
Three before Buchan.
And the Sunday nights on those, Josh, how would you summarise those?
Well, The first one was what I had heard about.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So this was 2021 Monado.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
And we went from yeeting chairs to bobsledding on tables to I don't even know if I can repeat some of the other stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. And then 2022 rolled around and it's been very tame.
Yes.
Like Monado 2022 came around and I
Not
went,
the match,
all right,
but
so
the
Sunday nights.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Sunday night rolled
Yeah.
around and like I was expecting to stay the night and actually ended up packing my swag and went home that night. 'cause
Disappointed.
It's people like you that make the night. Like, if you're not going to stay,
It was
obviously
much
it's-
better the night after he left.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then you experienced a bucket. Now, the difference is, let me put some justification into this. No, I've got nothing. No. First up, Emma Stevens was there, so blame that. Secondly, we all stayed in Buchan that night,
Yeah.
and that's got a fair
think-
bit to do with it.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Got nowhere to go.
and nowhere to go except the pub. And we went to the pub, and it was a good night.
Yep.
It was a good night. It started living up to the reputation. We all ended up
Yeah.
back in our accommodation with 25 of us or something, and it was good fun. But anyway, the less said about that, the better. We did end up watching Russian music videos for the rest of the night.
Cool.
And then when we put it onto South African music videos, everyone left. So that's probably all we should say about that. There's a couple of comments there to wrap the night up. Rosie said they were more helpful for me. I think she's referring back to Total Tools and getting a Milwaukee jacket. So that's
yes.
good, but you're not a big fat bloke, so you didn't have to try and get one of the more challenging sizes to get. Tell us about the tannins in the barrel, Andy.
The new one or the old one?
Yes.
Yes. The old one had a bit of a burnt taste to it. The new one's got a nice, fresh, crisp, I'd say like an oak.
An oak.
It's really going to just
So it's of
humble.
rich mahogany.
That's right.
Yeah, you're kind of a big deal. And Alex said that mud ain't ever getting out. Before we go, we do have to thank and try the Bearded Chap, of course, who have sponsored our show, which is very kind of them. Sure, the link will be coming up here somewhere where you can go to thebeardedchap.com/impact and use the code and you'll be supporting the show and also getting yourself some rad beard-related goodies. This is, Andy, their traditional, original beard oil, their first product.
Your first product.
So have a little go on that.
How long have you had this then?
I've had a little, no, not that long. Have a go with that. What do you reckon?
Whoa. That's original. I would
Original.
say.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it says
It
original.
says original. It's like you read it beforehand.
No, I
There we
didn't.
go.
I didn't actually. It's got that.
Yeah, just original sort of beard oily type smell
um,
to it.
I don't know how do you describe it.
Yeah.
But it's a nice scent.
Yes.
Very nice scent.
Yep.
Like
that in.
elderberries. No, it's.
Rich mahogany, actually.
I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
Like wisdom. Like, yeah,
Right.
Do
there you
you
go.
feel wiser?
I do.
You look wiser.
Yeah.
So this is my least favourite of their beard oils, actually. I don't
It's
particularly like this
still
one.
nice.
But you like it.
I
And this
do,
is the
yeah.
joy because they've got so many things. Like I like the gin and tonic one. I like the what's the other one I've got? The
tobacco and
one.
vanilla.
Yeah, it's
Vanilla.
tobacco and vanilla. But they're all available. Actually, I'm not sure the tobacco and vanilla is available.
That was
anymore.
limited,
That's
that one.
limited. But the beard oils, you can see them on the website. They're thebeardedchap.com/impact. And anything you buy from there supports the show, which we really appreciate. Or if you go to a different domain, you can always use the code impact as well. But that one there is their original and it is good. It's just not my flavour. It's just not what I like. Anyway, so whatever beard oil you like, they've got them. Whatever types of mud you like to get around, Buchan has it. The next match is the King of the Hill, which we haven't talked about, but I'm sure we will cover in the next show. The Carla's King of the Hill, which Josh is going to, Andy's going to, and I'm not. And that's the end of the show.